Hey there, welcome back to another episode of the Chill Mom Boss Show. I hope you're having a great week, and today's episode is kind of like part 3 of our previous 2 episodes on launches. And we talked about live launches and evergreen launches. And if you missed that, you can always look for episode 117 and 118 on our podcast, blog, and YouTube channel. And today, I want to talk about what to do when your launch doesn't go as planned. And the beauty of online business is that there are 6 billion people who use the internet every day. And there's a lot more potential traffic and profit than your brick and mortar shop down the street, right? But the tricky part is making yourself stand out in the busy world of web. Now, if you feel unseen, unfindable, and stuck about what to do about it, you're not alone. But there is something that you can do about. I have a masterclass to teach you what to post on social media to get attention and sales so that you become like their favorite local coffee shop to your subscribers, right? So like a familiar face that they know, and while you can still leverage the scale of being online. And in this masterclass, I have exact templates that get inbound leads so that you can sell from the DMs. Plus, I'll show you exactly what to post on social media to turn strangers into paying clients without a long process that takes weeks or months. How it works in my business and how it could potentially work in yours too. And all you have to do is go to momboss.academy/social sales system. And as usual, the link is in the description below this video or podcast, wherever you're listening. And I hope to see you there. All right, let's just say you just did a launch. You have invited people to your event to sell your things or to launch your latest offer. And maybe you didn't hit your goal, or maybe you didn't even get remotely close to it. Or maybe things got rough, people cancel, no one shows up, Zoom video gone missing. So many things can go wrong. So here's the thing. I'm not here to share with you the tactics or the step-by-step process that I use to recover from a struggling launch, because I've done that in the other podcast episodes. And I know that you're probably thinking, but that's what I need, that's what I want. Actually, not what you need. Trust me on this today. I am going to talk about the mindset that you need to have in order to recover from a launch that didn't go as planned. Because I know, I've been there. Those dark places that you can go if that were to happen, right? You probably have already been there. If you had a launch that didn't quite work out, I know I've been there. And it doesn't even have to be a launch, right? It could be anything in your business that you have put effort into and it didn't turn out the way that you had hoped for. And now you're feeling defeated and you feel like a failure possibly, or, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you feel however you feel. But I also know that what comes up a lot for a lot of students of mine is that you suddenly felt like, you don't belong here as an entrepreneur building a business. Like maybe, this doesn't work. Maybe this isn't for me. And I don't want you to feel or think any of those things, because they are just not true. And I'm right alongside you in this, my friend. As this whole mindset thing is something that I personally am constantly working on myself. And as with anything, practice makes perfect. And it's always good to be reminded that managing your negative thoughts and emotions play a huge role in being a successful entrepreneur. And that's why I believe that I can give you all the strategies in the world. I can tweak your sales page. I can change your webinar to do this or to do that, or, do various things on social media. And I do talk about all of that on this podcast, but the most value that I can offer you is to get things right in your head when things don't go as planned. Because the faster you can bounce back, the more creative you can be, the more productive you can be, right? And so then you can be more efficient in your business. And the more you can lead in a way that makes you feel proud. But when you stay in that low depression or frustration or overwhelm, that's kind of like a cloud that follows you after a bad launch. That could literally take your vibe down so low that it's hard sometimes to come back completely. And that's what I want to make sure doesn't happen for you. So let's say that your launch totally flops and you understandably is heartbroken, and because you pour your heart and soul into it. The first thing you do is to give yourself a good 24 hours to be sad, to be frustrated, to feel defeated. I'm not here to say never feel a negative emotion. It's fine, right? I'm just here to say that we just can't stay there. So one thing that you might be surprised to hear me say is that if you need a little pity party, you got 24 hours, my friend. Go there and do whatever you need to do. Sleep in an extra, call a friend, cry. For me, I snack. Whatever that looks like for you, right? Have your moment, because we are going to be moving on, right? But before we do, we can't ignore all the emotions that are coming up for you. Now, once you do that, it's time to get back in the game. So you literally give yourself a cut-off time, like, all right, enough is enough, 24 hours, I'm back in the game. Next, what you do is you look at your metrics, your launch metrics. And those of you who are in Launch It Perfect with me knows exactly what I'm talking about, because I gave you the exact template to track each of your launch or event metrics. And you can use it to even track live and evergreen launches. So yes, you absolutely need to review the data, right? So that you can even do that with a debrief with your team. You can ask some questions like, what did we love about this launch? What did we not enjoy about it? What really worked? What didn't work? What do we want to do to double down on next time, right? So by using those metrics, what did we learn from that, right? So we're not learning just from emotion, we learn from data. Here are some more numbers that you can plug from your metrics, right? What are some of your best ROI? What can we improve in the future? And these are all the things you should ask yourself after a launch, and ask your team members as well after a launch. And if you don't have a team yet, you're just asking yourself, and that's absolutely fine. So look at the metrics and then do a debrief. You may feel like the whole thing is a failure, but when you really look at your metrics, you know exactly where went wrong. Perhaps we didn't reach out to that many people to begin with, right? Or maybe many people did come to the registration page, but they didn't sign up. Or maybe enough people did sign up, but then just not showing up. So you know exactly where and what to fix moving forward. And in fact, I love looking at my metrics. Like almost immediately, I jump on metrics. And here's the thing. Do not compare your launch to the previous ones that had performed better. And I repeat, do not compare your launch to a previous launch. I mean, you can look at it, but do not compare it, because I hear it all the time from my students, right? Why didn't this work? Is there something wrong with my business? Is it true that it's now broken? Nobody wants this anymore. When I did this last year, my numbers were twice as big. Things just happens, right? I'm telling you this, and as an online marketer, entrepreneur, you need to understand with every ounce that bad launches happen. They just do, right? It's just part of the game. Sometimes it goes better, sometimes it didn't go as well. So welcome to entrepreneurship. I've had all of them, right? All of my peers have had them as well, whether they admit it or not. We all had bad launches. So what is so much more valuable than saying this didn't work out as well as it did in the past? A better question, because one thing that I learned from Tony Robbins is to ask better questions, right? And a better question to ask yourself is, what can I do differently next time? What would make me excited to start creating this next opportunity, right? How can I serve my audience in a bigger and better way? Let's keep looking forward, because sure, you can always look at the last launch in the debrief and kind of say, last launch we did XYZ, but this launch we do ABC, right? Or plus we did these 3 other things that we decided not to do this time. So where the difference. So maybe you can decide that, maybe I can bring those things back. And that's a debrief conversation that you can have, right? What I don't want to hear, and I know this from a personal experience, so I'm talking from personal emotions here. What I don't want you to do, which is what I've done in the past, is say, what is wrong with me? How can't I get this right? What is wrong with this business? Maybe we're not as relevant anymore. Maybe our time has passed. Maybe people don't want us anymore. People don't like me anymore, right? Maybe people are passing us up, or whatever it might look like for you that's broken in your business because of just one launch. Okay? That's just not the truth. Okay? So you cannot live there. Instead, ask yourself, what can I do differently next time? What would get me excited the next time I launch, right? What's great about doing that is that you are allowing yourself to get creative based on the lessons that you learn. And that way you can always strive to do bigger and better based on the lessons that you learn from that experience. So you're not living in the past, right? We're not saying that don't, right? You're not ignoring it. You're just saying, all right, what can I do better next time? Okay? So I actually have a perfect example of this in my business. I had a course called $1 Million Webinar. And this was because many people were asking me, oh my God, how do I promote my business, right? Because my students from Mom Boss Go are launching their businesses. And for those who want to launch via a webinar, right? I thought, that could be a perfect next step for them. So I went and created that, right? And plus, they were always asking me, how do I promote this? How do I launch my business? How do I promote my service? How do I promote my course? So as usual, what I did was, I did my pre-launch, right? And it did okay. It netted about $30,000 the first time. So I thought, oh, people wanted this. Great. So off I went and spent like months creating the new materials for the course and supporting students through the program. And then I'm like, great, I'm going to relaunch it, right? But when I launched the second time, it totally bombed. Not one sale. Like people just didn't get it. And every time my student asked me how to promote the stuff, I would point them to the course, but they just didn't get it. The truth is people just didn't want to do webinars. So that was kind of left on the shelf for the longest time until Ampli came along last year, right? And what I did is I now take parts of the entire course and turn them into smaller, separate trainings for people who are using funnels for events, right? And this group of ICA is way more receptive than the people that I originally created it for. Because first of all, I don't need to convince them to do events. They're already doing it. So I rename it, and it is now an Evergreen course, a top of funnel course that I charge for it. And it eventually also leads to our subscription-based tool business. Want to guess what it's called now? launch it perfect. You think about it this way, like, all right, these launches are not working as well as I want them to do. What do I do now? Because remember, every setback is an opportunity to become better. Because if everything is fine and dandy, when would we care to innovate and try new things? Okay? So beauty can absolutely come from lessons that we learn, but only if we keep moving forward and stop looking backwards. Okay? So the lesson that you're learning is right in front of you. It is not behind you. It is happening right now. So let's focus on what's right in front of us. Now, here's the other thing that you totally lose when you're chasing things from the past, right? So if you're chasing old launches, comparing everything to things that you have done in the past, one thing that you absolutely lose is the present. And I know being present, is such a buzzword right now, be present or whatever, right? But being present is incredibly powerful. So often we hear about being present in your personal life with your partner or with your kids, but it's just as important to be present in your business, and dwelling on whatever that has happened in the past would take away your focus and attention on what's happening right now and what needs to happen in the near future. Okay? So you owe it to your audience, to your team, to yourself, everyone who believe in you, right? So to be present with them, with you. So whenever you have a new launch, just go into it thinking that this is a brand new opportunity. This is going to be different. This is where I am right now, and you own it whether or not it exceeds your expectations or not. You own it in the present. And oftentimes when I launch, I'll just do my best and I leave the results out of the way. As in, I don't really care about the results. Of course I care, but I know that I've done my best, whether if it flops or whether it makes tons of money or whether it falls below what I wanted, it really doesn't matter because it's something that I can't control. What I can control is that doing my best and doing the best for my audience and for my clients. And here's the thing, right? Sometimes you just don't know how things are going to shake out. And that is totally okay to just leave it to the universe. Okay? So, if I can give you one big piece of advice this episode, it is that when things don't go as planned, whether it is a launch or some kind of promotion, some kind of opportunity, or that didn't come through, or a social media post that you have high hope for, it doesn't mean that it's a huge thing, right? Just stop looking in the past and compare it. Okay, just be very careful about putting meaning into a flop launch because, like I said in the beginning, every single business there is going to be crash and burns. And launches that don't work out are just part of the game, and you're staying present and you're learning from these lessons and you're creating from a space of opportunity based on what you've learned. And that is what that will keep you in the game and keep you moving forward. So here's a cheers to your new adventures, your new goals, and a new mindset around moving forward. So, all right. I hope that you found value in this episode. And I just wanted to share a few things that I've learned along the way because I am so in the trenches with you, my friend. Everything that I'm sharing here, I'm still doing it. So you, my friend, you are not alone. And thank you so much for being here with me today. And if you have a friend who's maybe been struggling a little bit in their promotions and launches, please do share this episode with them because I would love to help them as much as well. All right, so I look forward to seeing you in the next episode, same time, same place. Bye. Take care for now.